How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So it's been a while, but I'm finally getting some work done on this thing again. Now, ever since I've had it redone and retuned, you've probably heard me whining about cuts. Pretty much they were all fuel related. I quite clearly need a surge setup. Pretty much I didn't have cuts before because I'd never logged fuel pressure. I just somehow am lucky I never grenaded my motor. But yeah, I have now got a surge tank set up which I'm going to put in, and I'm also cutting a hole in the floor so that I can access the in-tank pumps without having to drop the tank again in the future. Just making it a bit more serviceable, since I am going to be putting a box in the boot because no fuel system can be in the cabin, and well, that means either a full firewall at the back, but if I'm going to go to that extent, that'll be when I eventually go like fuel cell and cut up the rear end. But for now, I'm just going to chuck a surge tank setup in. I did discover one thing. So the last round I was drifting, I couldn't run high boost. It's because this is actually my second attempt at doing this. The first attempt I started, and it was like a week out from Drift South, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to get it done in time. Fuck it, put it back together. I forgot to plug one of the fuel pumps in. So it's currently got two 255 litre per hour Warburgs in it, and I only had one of them plugged in, so that explains why I couldn't run it on high boost. But yeah, now I'm draining out the fuel, and unfortunately to get around surge I had loads of fuel in it. So I got like 60 litres of gas which I got to drain out of this fucking thing. And I roughed out a quick hole because I was being lazy with those ancient clippers, but yeah, the cuts are way too rough. I can't handle it, so yeah, so I'm dropping the fuel so that I can drop the tank, so that I can clean it and cut it up nicely with a grinder without setting my house on fire. But yeah, that is what I'm up to, and hopefully we'll have this thing running with no issues very soon. The tank is out now, so I can start to modify that and actually put proper bulkhead fittings on that for when I chuck the surge tank in. You can now also make that hole a little more square, or well, rectangular, and not have tetanusy edges. That is the surge tank setup. So it's got two of these Aeroflow pumps. I think they're rated to probably 600 crank each, so one wasn't going to quite be enough for high boost, and if I ever get excited and turn it up again, so I've gone with two, and hopefully that'll be enough. The only thing I've got to decide is what lift pump I'm going to use. They clearly work, so they are quite old and maybe I should replace them, but also then again I've got two of them and I'll probably only need one of the lift pump, and because I've actually got access, if it ever dies it's not actually a fucking big deal to change it. So realistically I'm probably just going to end up using those Warburgs, or one of them, and then have one as a spare. Alright, well, a little bit more work on this. What I've done is I've patched up a little bit of over trimming, and patched up some holes. So I've got quite a few holes in the boot which I really do need to patch up. I welded a plate to the body with some studs, and I've cut out this box. So obviously got another piece already cut out as well. The surge tank bolts onto those studs inside this box, and obviously all the fuel tank stuff's there, but that's out the way so I don't set it on fire while I'm MIGging this stuff up. I'm not too handy with a MIG, to be perfectly honest. I don't use it very often, so she's a little ugly, but it'll get the job done. Now I've got the box relatively solidly attached. I am going to put a brace across there and there as well, and some rubber on there, and drill and tap this stuff so that I can bolt a lid down and seal it on the rubber. But because my MIG welds, specifically down the bottom, are a bit gappy and a bit shit, I better just whip my cork out and put some of this on. So some flameproof sealant, probably a good idea. I'll run that around the outside and the inside, and that should be that. I say, other than the lid, mostly done. I had to return the welder quickly, but I'll bring it back at a later date and finish off those bits, and it should be good, and then I can start working on my lines. So I've taken one of the in-tank warbros out. I've just got a single now. Chuck some bulkheads on here, some PTFE line with a wee bit of scrap. I just made a wee return to drop it back into the... Let's see if I can turn a little torch on. You can see, but there's actually like a little factory surge tank in there. It's pretty good. So making sure the return's dropping into there this time, which it wasn't before, because that had come off. And then as far as the tank side of things go, that's probably not too bad. All I've got to do is make sure that, well, one, somehow I've managed to lose my fuel filter, so find that. So that's the return from the fuel rail hooked up. That is the two feeds, which will go to fuel filter, which will go to the dash 8 line for the feed. Yeah, as soon as I find the filter, should hopefully be good to get the length of that line. Chuck a few P clamps in, and then I can put the tank back in. That's about as far as I can get today. So I got my return from tank to bulkhead, feed from pump to tank, return from rail to tank, and feeds from tank to feed to rail. So still can't find my fuel filter. Honestly, the only way to find it is probably buy a new one, and then it'll turn up. And I am short 1-8 straight fitting. So, and yeah, I used to have a bulkhead there, which I don't really need, so I'm either just going to cut out a flat bit of circle to cover that hole, or fill that hole with something. But yeah, that is it coming along. Still obviously got to do the wiring. Probably have, well, I'm going to have a couple of plugs. Probably have those two guys go to one plug, and that go to one plug, and then out, down through there, and up out here somewhere to the relays, which I'll need to get one more of. Well, I already have run one test whilst the camera is off, and my battery voltage is pretty damn low. I've just chucked the power onto it now, but sounds like a fair amount of fuel that's moving. Got the torch on, no leaks anywhere. I did have to redo this line because I had a wee leak down the bottom. Yeah, hopefully the single warbler in the tank is sufficient to feed that. You can hear my battery about to die, so I'll go turn it off. But yeah, a lot of fuel. Well, thank you very much for watching. I have no idea how poorly segmented this video is going to be, because I've been doing it over a very long period of time. But it's done. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. There is a few more things happening to this car, which you'll start to see in the next episode. But anyway, cheers. See you later.